How important is the new community hub? Well, the new community hub was completely built and paid for by the public and the volunteers at the club. It's Kilwinning's never really had a place where people can meet for whatever reason. There's town halls and there's community centres, there's bowling clubs, but there was nowhere really that allowed anybody to come. So we managed to get that building for free for one of our sponsors. We got it during COVID. It lay in the car park for a year. The local kids were burning it, trashing it. And nearly every Saturday people would come up to us and say, why are you no scrapping that? Why are you no scrapping it? And we're like, listen, just let us do what we're going to do. North Ayrshire Council came in, helped us raise the money to start putting it back together. We had something like 100 local companies input, whether that be time, investment, materials to build it. We had 30 people constantly working on it. Don't get me wrong, we probably couldn't have done it if it wasn't for COVID. There's a lot of people in our committee that are electricians, joiners, plumbers, and even just people that we just turn up to help. And it was a complete community project, which we've gave back to although Kilwinning Rangers built it and went through it all, we gave it back to the sports club. So when we originally set it up and got it going, we then didn't know what to do with it, what's its long-term purpose. And the one thing we wanted to get was a social return on investment. So we started working on this number that for when the council gave us money, how much in social investment we get back in. What I mean by social investment is if Ayrshire Hospice have a function in there and they make £4,000, well, there's £4,000 that's went back in to the community somewhere. It's went back into Ayrshire Hospice. It will then be used to get drivers for cars, beds, etc. Just the same as if a youth team has a player of the year dance and they make £1,500. So that £1,500 will then go back to buying kits, petrol money for coaches to get somewhere. So it's money that's going straight back in. It's no money that's in profit coming out. So when we set it up like that, we set a stupid number that in 10 years, we want to put £1 million back into the local community through social investment, people having events in it. And whether that's, the women having Pilates on a Saturday morning, that 50 quid booking goes back into the club, that maintains the parks. And at the moment, I think we're already over 100 grand. And we're not even, I think, we're maybe just about a year, that's it, we're not in a year. So we're about 100 grand a year in social investment. And that's massive for somewhere for like Kilwinning. And it's not just tied to us. So, we've got 450, 500 members. So that means there's 500 mums, 500 dads, grannies, granddads, uncles. They're members of the club through their kid playing in it, so they can use it for their events as well. And as far as I believe, it's booked every Friday and Saturday. There's something on it most days. The local college is now using it to train people in. They take people that struggle with school and they bring them down here and they teach them to be either a sports scientist or a first aider or things like that. So everybody seems to be using it in different ways, and in loads of ways that we probably wouldn't imagine it was getting used. We had to write a report for our funding to say how was it getting used, and the list had about 40 things on it, like different groups, and you're like, well, I didn't know they'd done that, I didn't know they'd done this. So it's getting used massively. It's huge, it's massive for Kilwinning, it's massive for Kilwinning Rangers, and it's a massive help to Kilwinning Sports Club. Volunteers in the sense of the hub were huge, and the guys are still there. When I took over at Kilwinning Rangers, our volunteer base was mainly tradespeople, because Abbey Park was up there and we were constantly trying to keep on top of it. That band of people stuck together, a couple of electricians, a couple of handymen, a couple of joiners, and then we got more and more and more. When we were working in the hub, we had 18 electricians. They were getting up their time, they were getting up parts, and they were coming down. 18 electricians. The local joinery company, JBS, Contract Joiners, just gave us joiners. Take as many joiners as you want. You can get them every Friday and Saturday and Sunday for as long as it takes. The plasterers coming in. In fact, there's all John's in there and we're painting it because we just replaced all the floor. And he just turns up and do it. You don't need to ask him. And that's what we try to let people do what they want to do. We don't need to ask people. We don't have meetings. Since I've been a chairman of the club, we've barely had a meeting. We don't have committee meetings with WhatsApp groups. We just take action, right? Okay, you're an electrician, someone needs fixed, go fix it, go get the keys and do it. You don't buy the parts, we'll pay it back. Rather than us planning things out, slowing the process down, you just go all the time, and that's what you've got to do. I had no idea John was in there painting today till I walked in when I seen you, and he's painting away. So volunteers are huge, but volunteers also for the club. As I said at the time, we had loads of tradespeople, and now we're starting to kind of get more administration people. We've now got the football club, we've got a social club, we've got a cafe that's getting run, we've still got the sports club that's running all the rest of the stuff. Andrea has been a massive help setting up the social club, and she's taken that on. Brought Lauren Grant in, that's helping the. She's now my secretary. Which her and Ben and Gary, kind of media team, they've taken a lot of stuff off me, and that's pleasing. At one point, it was just the pressure, but we're getting the right team, the right people. But even the likes of Graham Sutherland coming down and just helping out at the gate, it's just the wee things that you need. And the other young boys that are coming down, putting a high vis on and manning the gates on a Saturday, you need volunteers. They're the lifeblood of these clubs. If we had to pay people, we'd have wet bust a long time ago. So no, volunteers, that's a volunteer-run organisation. Nobody gets paid, you know, unless they're asked to come in and cover a shift or work in the cafe or something or help with hospitality. So I think we have a different structure to most clubs that although we're committee is only 4 members and everybody else a volunteer, which can put in whatever level they want. They can come down every day of the week and do something. They can turn up in a match day and do a wee bit. They can just turn up whenever they want and help out with this or that. There's no, you need to do this is your job, this is your role. We don't work it like that. Volunteers are massive to the club.